So, David, thanks very much for agreeing to do this interview for Midweek Blues Club. Lynsey had contacted me last week and said that you and Lynsey had this side project going on, and I'm really looking forward to hearing some more of it. But
Mhm.
first, tell me a bit about yourself, please, David.
Yeah, well, first of all, Hugh, thank you very much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. The project kind of started, I think it was probably about the start of last year. I've been involved in quite a few live projects over the last few years, mainly the sensational Alex Harvey experience,
Mhm.
a tribute to Alex Harvey. And we've been doing that for about 10 years on and off. And I'm also involved with Rory Gallagher's bass player, Jerry McAvoy, with the Band of Friends. We've done some gigs in Europe and things like that. But I was looking to get involved in something at home, doing a sort of side project, because I'm always writing at home in various styles. I've wrote a lot of funk music, rock music, metal music, blues. Just very open minded when it comes to writing. And the more songs that I started writing over the last few months were becoming more in the kind of funk genre.
Yep.
So the idea was that I would get a pool of musicians that I've either worked with in the past or what I'm currently doing and get them involved in the playing side of it and find different singers for different genres of the Groove Network, as it will. So if it was blues music, I would get somebody that's kind of suited to that style of music. If it was soul, R&B, all that kind of thing. And it's basically a pool of musicians. So it would be different all the time. It gives the songs a different flavour all the time. So that was my initial concept for it. But when I started writing the funk music, Lynsey Dolan got in touch with me, who I'd heard of in the circuit, and I knew that she was doing really well with her own band and stuff like that, and knew she was a great singer. So I contacted Lynsey and sent her a few of the demos, and right away we kind of clicked. She really liked what I was doing. Initially, it was going to be one or two songs. It then became a four-track EP, and then latterly it became a 10-track album. Because the music just progressed so quickly. Before we knew it, we had an album's worth of material, and we thought, well, there's no point in putting an EP out. There's another six songs there that are really, really good and have turned out really, really well. So we decided to just kind of push towards a debut album for the project, and that's basically what we've got now.
Excellent. Now, going back a bit, you said you've been working with Jerry McAvoy. Um,
Yes.
what kind of stuff have you been doing with Jerry?
Majority of the stuff with Jerry is Rory Gallagher based music. Jerry McAvoy played on basically every studio album that Rory played on, and obviously Rory died back in the mid 90s, and he put together a project called the Band of Friends. And initially it wasn't a tribute band; it was more of a celebration of Rory's music. So keyboards weren't in the band initially. They had former Alex Harvey band drummer Ted McKenna. He was the original drummer. Jerry on bass and a Dutch guitarist called Marcel Scherpenzeel. So they'd done tours for about 5 or 6 years, recorded a few albums. Unfortunately, Ted McKenna passed away a few years ago, so the kind of band had to change, and they brought in one of Rory's other former drummers, Brendan O'Neill, into the band. Other guitarists started joining. I was working with a guy, Paul Rose, who's an incredible guitar player from Newcastle. He was working with Jerry, and they were looking for somebody to kind of do the Lou Martin piano type things on some re-recordings that Band of Friends were doing. So Paul recommended me, and Jerry got in touch and asked me to do some recordings, which he was very happy with. And then he asked me in 2023 to do a 21-date European tour with the band, which was completely new for me because I hadn't experienced a lengthy tour like that. I'd been up and down the UK and played in Sweden and places like that, but to do an extensive tour like that was something that I'd always dreamed of doing. So Jerry gave me that opportunity to do that. And last year I'd done another tour of Germany for about a week. And I've also done the Rory Gallagher Blues Festival, which happens every year
Yep,
in Ballyshannon.
that's right.
I've
Yeah.
done that last year, and I'm now doing it this year, which is actually a week on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So at the end of this month, I'll be back over with Jerry and Brendan and a fantastic guitar player called Davy Knowles.
Yeah.
He's based in Chicago, but he's originally from Isle of Man, and he's an absolutely incredible guitar player. So I'm looking forward to catching up with him again because it's been about a year since I've seen him.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. And I forget what I was going to ask you. um, you've got a live album, is that correct?
But yeah, it's actually been split into two albums.
Right.
I didn't actually know that some of the gigs were recorded on that first tour. Jerry didn't actually tell me that was happening, but it was a nice wee surprise to find out that one of the shows we done was recorded, and it turned out really, really well. And it was only about a month or so ago there was another show from that tour recorded, so it was like the second part of the set, and he's now released that as a live album. And to be honest, I think that's actually the better of the two. It's a kind of hybrid of Rory Gallagher songs and some original material that David Rose had wrote with Band of Friends as well. So it was good to get some original material in there as well and introduce the Rory fans to some new music.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I played on two live albums, and I believe it's either 3 or 4 studio albums with the band now in such a short space of time, because I've only been playing with them on and off for about 3 years now, just after COVID.
Yeah, so they're quite prolific. Uh,
Yeah, it's been quite a shift.
well, um, so to come back to the new project with Lynsey, and I believe David Knowles is playing in that as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's going to be featuring on one of the tracks along with Brendan O'Neill as well.
Yeah.
But the plan is to record, well, the song's recorded, but we're going to release that as a separate single, probably after the album's released, because there's going to be two versions. There's a version that's basically got my drums and things on it and my guitar. And I'm going to release a version that's got Brendan and Davey on it, so that it gives it something, a different flavour.
Yeah.
And Paul Rose is going to be helping with the production of that particular song. But the rest of the album, it's actually been a bit of a learning curve for me, because I've produced it myself.
Yeah.
I've done it all from home with basically a MacBook and the kind of plugins that I've got there. So it won't be state of the art professional studio quality, but it will be listening quality, and hopefully people enjoy the quality of the music and the production.
Yeah. Yeah. Judging by the single that you've given me there, it's really good. It sounds great, you know.
Yeah, it's
It's
got a bit of a bite to it,
yeah,
it's quite punchy, and that was the kind of idea, was to make sure that the songs had that backbone, of
yeah.
that groove. And we've also had other players playing on it as well, some really talented musicians, mainly guitar players. I've done the majority of the drums myself,
Uh,
using software at home, and a lot of the bass was me as well. But some talented guitar players, some talented bass players have kind of stepped in and done it as well.
Excellent, good stuff. And production, you're saying you produced this yourself. That sounds like something you always wanted to try anyway. Is it?
Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to dip my toe in it.
Yeah,
I've I've also done a few kind of solo albums that I kind of started dipping into the water with that, but I did end up getting some help along the way with that. So that was a kind of 50-50 collaboration with
yeah,
a few guys that I know. But this Groove Network album, Invincible, was basically 100% me that's done it. So it kind of gives me an idea and a template when I go on to do future albums and
was
projects, that I can do it myself as best I can. Because a lot of musicians are skint these days, so it's
absolutely.
good it's been able to do it at home, and it's happening more and more. And it's not to take away from musicians going to studios, because I believe obviously music studios are so important for bands and for musicians. So I would certainly encourage people to still go to studios. I still go to studios when I'm doing the Alex Harvey experience and other projects. But to do my side project stuff, to get it started anyway, it's a good
Absolutely.
wee learning curve for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And the album that you've got, this 10-track album that suddenly, it grew into, have you got a release date for that?
We're looking at round about, I think it's round about the 23rd of June.
Excellent.
I think it's the second last Friday in June. We've still to kind of decide on that, but it'll be probably within the next couple of days. There'll be an
Yeah,
official release date for that. But the single is going to be released on Friday.
excellent.
So you'll be able to get that on most digital streaming platforms like iTunes, Amazon Music, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
by the time this actually goes out, it'll probably have been last Friday, but we've got the single there.
yeah.
Yeah. And have you got a name for the album yet?
Yeah, the album's called Invincible.
Invincible.
There's actually a track called Invincible on there as well. So we decided just to go with that. When I initially started writing the songs, I generally trying to give the ideas of the songs I write a title, so that when I go back to it or I'm working on stuff, I go, right, I remember what that song is, rather than Jam 1 or Groove 2. I used to do that in the past, and I'd be like, I don't know what song's what. So I usually give them a title, and sometimes that can spark an idea for the lyricist as well.
Yes.
Especially with Lynsey, there was a couple that she actually kept because she liked the title of it, and she just wrote lyrics round about that. But I did say to her, like, you're the singer, you're the songwriter. If you want to change the title, you do whatever you like, you know. So I think the the lyrics and the melodies that Lynsey's come up with is absolutely top draw.
Good stuff.
I'm really, really proud of how it's turned out.
Yeah. And the album, you've got the release date. Is there going to be any live launch or anything? Or
We have kind of spoke about it, but I think because the majority of the music on the album is primarily myself,
right?
um, it would be a case of putting a band together and learning the material.
Ah,
Lynsey's got her own project, the Lynsey Dolan band there.
of course.
They've just released an EP. I've obviously got my commitments to the Alex Harvey Experience
Yep.
and Band of Friends. We would love to do it. We have spoke about it. We have initially spoke about doing something. If we get enough kind of demand for this, if people really
Yeah.
like it, and there's a demand for a hard copy of it.
Yep.
That's the reason why we're not releasing it on CD, because a lot of people don't really listen to CDs now,
Yes.
and we feel that it would maybe be a kind of income or an outgoing rather that we could be doing without if people are just going to listen to it online, which is absolutely fine.
Yep.
But I know there is people out there that still love the hard copy. Me personally, I love having something in my hand, like a vinyl or something like that.
Yeah.
I would love to have it on vinyl at some point. That would be amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll see how it kind of goes and how the public react to it. And if there is a demand for it, then we can look at it and go, do you know what? Let's do a showcase,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
even if it's a one-off. You
Yeah.
know, it would be good to do something live. I'd love to hear the songs live. Actually, it'd be quite interesting to
Yeah. Of
hear
course.
other musicians' inputs on the material. You know.
Yeah. And where could people get this album?
I'll be on basically all your kind of mainstream digital streaming platforms. Will be iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify. I think I was going to do it as well. There was about a list of 50 when we were putting the album out, and we just ticked every one because we don't know what people are getting their music from. So we thought we'll just put them on all of them. So it will be easily accessible. So yeah, and we've got a Facebook page as well that's basically in its infancy as well, because we've not met up a great deal. A lot of this stuff's been done working from home.
Yes.
But there is plans for us to do a sort of promo photo shoot and get some photographs and get some content onto the Facebook page to try and gather more interest and stuff like that. So that's a work in progress.
Of course. Yeah. Good stuff. And it's a lot of work when you consider it's a side project, isn't it? And you've
Yeah,
still
I mean,
got
there's
going
a
on.
lot of hours that went into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just thankful I've got a very understanding wife that knows that I'm a musician. And Lynsey's probably the same with her husband, although
Same
she's
with
probably got
husband.
the
Yeah.
advantage. She's got the advantage that her partner's a musician, so she's probably got off lighter than me.
Yeah, probably. Anyway,
But you
David,
know,
thank you
it's
very much for this. I'm
my
really looking
pleasure.
forward to the album. So, yeah, keep me tipped when that one comes out.
I will do, Hugh, and thank you again for inviting us on.
No problem.